Well, good morning, YouTube. All right, guys, Talon and I have a pretty cool project coming your way today. But first, we've got to get our coffee in us. Okay, guys, so last month when we were in Laconia, New Hampshire, actually, we were in Loudon, New Hampshire, working the Laconia Motorcycle Rally. Talon had... Oh, sorry about that, guys. We had a couple of subscribers stop by and visit and say hi. It was really great meeting them. They told me all the names, and I don't remember all of them already. But anyway, so Talon and I were in Loudon, New Hampshire, and we have a friend that works for the Fairing Exchange who has an electric bike, and he's always riding it around at the rallies and having some fun on it and everything. And Talon just said to me, you know what, it'd be really cool if we had one of those electric bikes here if we're running around and doing errands. We don't have to walk everywhere, you know? And I was like, yeah, it'd be great if one of those electric bike companies would, reach out to us and want us to do a video on their product. And we just kind of laughed and joked about it. And then the next morning, I opened up my emails, and there was an email from a company called Mokwheel. And they said, hey, we like the way you do your videos. We want to send you this bike and you do a review on it. And I'm like, what perfect timing that it worked out that way. So we've got this here. We're getting ready to unbox it, put it together, and see what kind of fun and mischief we get into with it. Hi guys, looks like everything is packaged in very nice and neatly. Looks like it's very well protected. Oh, look, it even comes with tools. Looky there. All one nice compact unit for the most part.
It's like 2 pounds.
You guys, it even came with an air pump for the tires, which is pretty convenient. It even has a set of car keys. Well, bike keys, I guess.
Oh, it's a charging port for it. So you have to pedal this thing?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's just a pedal assisted one. So once you get pedaling and going,
Doing
then
that?
it does FAB.
Look, guys, it's even got front suspension. Pretty nifty.
Right there. Because you can see the numbers on both sides.
All right, after getting the handlebars lined up and in place, we're now adding the gauge cluster, which is already hooked up to cycle. It was just wrapped up in a protective layer of styrofoam, and it really all goes together super easy. We haven't even begun to look at any directions yet.
I don't think that they are.
There you go.
All right, front wheels on, pretty simple. All right guys, and 3 bolts with the top, 1 on each side, gets the front fender put on it. And the pedals are marked left and right, like all bicycle pedals.
Are they reverse threaded?
And of course, the left side pedal is reverse thread, that way it doesn't come loose while you're riding it, just like all bicycles.
19 miles an hour.
All right guys, we got it all together and we are rolling it out. For the most part, it was pretty simple. There were only a couple things we had to refer to the directions on. Like we were trying to figure out the headlight. It bolts to the fender. We were thinking that it bolted up here, but apparently nothing actually bolts there. But we could see in a picture that it was bolted to the fender. So we went ahead and did that. Now we got to figure out all the electronics and how it actually works. There's a lot of really cool features on this, so we got to go to the book and figure it all out. I will say this unit sits pretty tall. Talon is 6'5", and when he stands flat-footed on the ground, he's just barely straddling it. So it's definitely not for short people.
So on pass 1, so that's just from a dead stop on pass 1.
No pedal assist.
Brake lights. Those are brake lights in the back.
Yeah, look, guys, look, it's getting little brake lights built into the back of the frame. Now we also had to tweak the fender just a little bit.
Rear brakes need adjusted. Yeah, stop to 20 for me.
Guys, so the specifications show that this thing should do about 28 mile an hour. Talon can only get it up to 20, and that's going a little bit downhill. Amanda, who's 100 pounds lighter than Talon, got it up to 22, also going downhill. All right, 5 minutes on a test ride. Talon already threw it down on the ground. It washed out when he was making a U-turn.
How bad your leg?
All right, so now these two are going to the book to figure it all out. Probably should have read the instructions first, but this is how we do it. Trying to see if we can't change the speed on it somehow. We want it to go fast.
Oh, it's a horn.
Sounds like a toy fire truck.
Is it on?
All right, guys. Well, I think we've killed the battery working on it. We were playing with the settings, and it looks like there's another way to set the top speed on it, and we were playing with that, and it got to a spot where it asked for a voltage. But anyway, as soon as we got into that menu, we weren't really trying to change the voltage because we knew this was only a 36 volt bike, but we were just kind of playing around with the settings, and then it went into some type of a battery error mode, said error code 2. And in the book, I cannot find a troubleshooting section that tells me what the codes are, but it looks like the battery was really low anyway. So we're putting the thing on charge. It says it will take about 5 to 6 hours to fully charge, and we'll see if that goes away. Maybe it was just a low battery thing. We won't know for sure until we're done. So maybe after dinner tonight, we can play with it a little bit more. All right, guys, and you know that inside this trailer, I have got, I don't know, probably $100,000 worth of tools and equipment. But I wanted to put this bike together with the tools that they supplied, and it was actually relatively simple. So I used everything that they offered. I did not use any of my own tools, with the exception of a pair of side cutters just to cut the zip ties that came packaged in, but you could use a pair of scissors or whatnot, or even a razor knife to do so. But that's the only thing I grabbed out of my toolbox. Everything else is what they supplied. All right, guys, after giving the Mokwheel a full charge, we've brought it over here at the Founders Park in Rapid City, South Dakota. Where we were the other day, very hilly, very grassy. We wanted to give this a bit of room to stretch its legs and see what it does. So there are still some hills here, but I don't think they're quite as steep. And we did figure out a little bit more on how to work the controls on this. Let me show you how. So basically, you just hold the power button for a few moments, and then the system will power on. This is your main dash screen. If you wanted to switch between different modes, you can hold the up and the down button together. And then you go into here so you can change all of these settings as you wish. Language, brightness, so on and so forth. And then if you just leave that alone for a little while, it'll automatically return to the main menu. All right, and again from the main menu, now if you hit the down button and the light button and hold them together, it'll bring you to another menu. Now that changes this to a little bit different of a readout. All right, and there's another menu that can be selected by holding the up, the down, and the light button all at the same time. Okay, and in this menu, you can change things like the speed limit. Now, if you want to select speed limit, while it's highlighted, you hit the power button and it'll take you into that menu. So we've set it at 61 mile an hour. Of course, this bike will never do 61 mile an hour unless it's falling out of an airplane, probably. And when you're done, you hit the power button again, brings you back. You can then go down and see what gear you want the assist power in, hit the power button, and then you can choose your gear level and then exit. Where we screwed up when we thought the battery was dead is because we went into voltage limit level and we had switched it to 48 volt. Well, because this is only a 36 volt, it registered as a low battery even though it really wasn't low. So we're going to leave it on 36 volt for now. You know, and out here today is also a good test of how it performs under hot conditions because it is 6 p.m. and it's still about 100 or 101 degrees outside. Luckily right now we're in the shade, but not all of the bike path is. It is just hot out here in Rapid City.
And breezy.
All right guys, so I'm cruising along on it at the moment, about 17, 18 mile an hour. It'll go up to 20, come back down to about 14 or 15 depending on the grade. I'm not trying to like go as fast as I can. It's kind of a little bumpy area. I wish the seat was a little bit more comfy, but I'm a pretty big boy and I didn't expect them to make a seat just for me. All right, so we've had some tests around our little grassy knoll and gravel roads. We took it to the park, we did a few tests there, and it's done well. Now for the real test. Those of you that follow the channel all the time and are not just here to see the review on this Mokwheel bicycle, you'll know that 2 weeks ago we rented a car here from the Rapid City Airport so that we could take our Yellowstone vacation. Well, today I had to return the car to the airport. And we picked the car up. I rode on the back of Amanda's Harley. She dropped me off and then I picked up the car and we did our thing. Well, Amanda isn't here and I didn't want to bother anybody else. So I was like, you know what? I got this bicycle. Why not load the bike in the back of the car, come out to the airport, drop off the rental, and then ride the bicycle back. So it looks like it's about 15 miles. Here's kind of the route. Now, as you can see, there are multiple routes that I can take, but obviously I'm not going to go on the interstate. So we're going to choose the route that brings us right through town, stay on 44, all the way over to Deadwood Avenue, and then head up towards the Harley-Davidson dealership. Now you can also see here, I can click into the bike route, and it has a whole bunch more turns and a lot more time. So I don't think we're going to do that. We're just going to stick to 44. Head all the way across town. Okay, so I have rigged up a phone mount on the bike so we can film parts of the trip home. The one thing I did forget is I was drinking my coffee on the way here to drop off the car, and I don't really have a good place to put my coffee cup. So we're gonna hope that it stays right there. All right guys, I came from up top of the hill down here to the sign and I realized I never set the trip meter on it just yet. So I'm gonna try to change that trip meter and see what we can do to zero it out. But you can see what we've already got on there so far. So I went into the menu. I'm gonna come down here to reset trip, hit the power button, reset, go up to yes, and then hit power. And then it should back out of the menu in just a moment with 0 miles on the trip. There we go. Now it shows the trip is 0. So I've probably gone 1 mile, maybe 1.5 so far to get to here. So I seem to be averaging about 20 mile an hour. Right now I'm 22, 23, slightly downhill. I can't seem to get it up to the 28 mile an hour unless I'm going down a significant downhill. I made it 9.3 miles before I lost my coffee cup, and just because I hit a really big bump in the concrete sidewalk right there. But I'm pretty much downtown Rapid City now. I'm almost to where I gotta go. Well, I made it back, and that wasn't as terrible as I thought it was going to be. Guys, keep in mind, I have not ridden a bicycle in many, many years, especially that far. Speaking of how far did we go? So it says 13.9 miles on that trip. I remember I said I had gone about a mile or so before I reset that. So let's just say 15 miles. Not that bad. And it looks like I still have 4 bars worth of power left. All right, guys, in closing, I think this thing is actually pretty cool. Now, what I didn't get on camera is there was one point where going downhill, I did get it up to 32.2 mile per hour, but as soon as we got a little bit of an incline, it went away. I think if you're into biking and you like e-bikes, this is definitely a good, viable option. Now, this is not the only model of e-bike that Mokwheel makes. They actually have quite a big selection. There will be a link to their website in the video description, as well as a discount code. If you want to buy one of these bikes, they're going to give you a discount by mentioning that you saw it on this channel. And we also get like a little bit of a commission off that as well. So it's greatly appreciated. Now, you guys know how I am. I won't pull punches. I won't tell you that I do like something if I really don't. However, I'm not overly knowledgeable on e-bikes, but I thought this thing was really cool. So if you're into e-bikes, this may be a good solution for you. Now, as far as the things that I did not like, and there were very few, and none of them, I believe, are Mokwheel's fault. They're all because of me. And what I mean by that is I'm a very large man. I weigh well over 300 pounds. And so my complaint was that the seat was uncomfortable. Well, probably wouldn't be uncomfortable for somebody that was in a lower weight class than I am. I felt it was a little bit slow and underpowered trying to get up hills, but that may not be the case for somebody that was an average weight rider. Now, this does have a 400-pound payload, so I'm not overweight by any means, but obviously the less weight you put on something like this, the better it's going to perform. And I think that ergonomically, some things might be able to be laid out better. But again, I'm large, I've got big hands, so I had trouble with the shift mechanisms on the right side handlebar. I wasn't able to really get my hand a good grip on the handlebar because those shift levers were in the way, but I've got giant hands. If you're only going to use the thumb control for power and not pedaling, it does wear on your thumb a little bit over there. But what I found on that trip back from the airport was that on the uphills, I would pedal and it would assist. So I could feel that it was helping me get up the hill. So I wasn't putting full effort in, which is probably good because I'm way out of shape. But then going down the hills, I would take a break. I would use the thumb lever to send power to the motor and let it cruise down the hills. When I started up another incline, I would then let off of the thumb lever and start pedaling again and go up the hills. And that seemed to work really, really well. The other thing that I did not care for, and maybe it's designed in for good reason, is that when you've got the power assist mode on and you're using electric functions at all, when you stop pedaling or let off of the throttle, there's like a braking action that happens, like an engine braking. You can feel a decel. When you turn the electric completely off and just ride it like a bicycle, that's not there. So that's something with an electric motor. Now, maybe that's using some regenerative braking. I didn't see anything about that in the literature at all, but maybe that's why it's there. But there were times where I wish I could have just coasted a little bit further, and it wasn't able to because it started slowing down because I could feel that drag on the bike only when the electric motor was engaged. I never saw that full 28 mile an hour with me on it unless I was going downhill. Now, Talon weighs considerably less than me and he couldn't get it quite that fast either, but maybe we're still heavier than what they tested it at. That I'm not sure about. I would have liked something to be able to go a little bit faster. Now, anything over 22 mile an hour, I wasn't able to keep up with the pedals anyway. So at that point, it was usually just down hills and I just kept the thumb on the throttle control and just kept it going as fast as I could. And when it slowed back down to 20 or 21, I would then start pedaling to kind of keep up with it then again. And usually by then I was climbing up a hill again. But all in all, I have to give it a positive recommendation. I mean, it did just about everything that we needed it to do, and it was a lot of fun, and we intend on keeping it around for a while. You know, Mokwheel only asked me to do the one video on it, but I guarantee you, you're gonna see this in some of our future videos. In fact, Talon was using it today when we were doing our setup here in Sturgis. He rigged up a cart to the back of it and it was using it to go get water barrels filled up with water and bring them back. So we're using it like a truck as well. It's gonna be our water dolly. Even though that's not what it's designed for, but we're gonna put it through the ringer and you might get a follow-up video on how well this thing works in the future also. So anyway, guys, I wanna thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video, and until the next time I see you, keep those engines running or keep those e-bikes rolling downhill.